you're sensitizing the geese.
Can you
to
put
this
your
being
microphone on, please?
You're sensitizing the geese to this being an undesirable location, so it's going to take some time as opposed to saying, you know, let's try this for 3 or 4 months. I don't think that's long enough to condition them.
I think, yeah, but I think she's saying like the months that they're not coming, we're basically paying for no reason because there's nothing to do because there's no geese here.
But he said that
Yeah,
money
that's
would be
what-
prorated,
they're not
didn't he?
paying.
Didn't he say that would be,
Geese for this month, and we'd be paying for it.
Sean, did you say it would be lesser?
Once you go into the maintenance program.
Okay.
Yes, but what do they consider the winter months? Is that just a, so if you can find that out as well.
Well, I think the other thing,
Was there an answer to the, your question, Ms. Charlie, about the, is there a drop-down rate when it becomes a maintenance versus like a first-time year or something?
Right, well, he doesn't have the answer to that. So, I mean, we could do,
okay,
right, so we could do two things. I think we could move it to the board meeting and Mr. Daubert can share the answers to the questions and then we would have it before we would vote. Or we can, if we have, if it's possible, I mean, is it possible to, I don't know that we want to discuss, I mean, because we have to move on to the budget. I mean, if we bring the answers back before the next finance, but then, and then vote in the February meeting.
I could get the answers and email them out.
That's
Okay.
that's what I
Okay.
would suggest, to email us,
I-
because we've had the major discussion, had a lot of our questions
Yeah.
answered. I think, Mr. Daubert, if you just email that out to us, because don't we have to get this kicking for the, you know, this is their season, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's coming quickly.
Yeah, so I think we need to get.
Okay.
And I, you know, I don't want you to completely misunderstand. I mean, there were days in December when I left here and there were about 70 geese in the front yard of Jeff's maintenance building. I mean, I haven't seen them the last 2 weeks because it's been 12 degrees or 0. So I don't know where they're at, but they're coming back as soon as it warms up. So it's not like we lose them for 3 months.
Right.
They were on the ice, when the ice was frozen last week, they were 30, 40, 50. You know, my impression of this is it'll be 1 year of pretty full service. He'll be here every day, every other day, chase them as much as possible. Once we get through the first nesting, and then after the second nesting, I think that's when they're gonna say, we're moving. That's when we'll stop seeing them as much, going into a maintenance mode. And then the only thing we're doing is keeping new ones from coming. The old ones won't come back, as he says. They found a new home, it's the new ones coming in.
So,
And that's what we'll go into a maintenance mode. That's the way I kind of understand it. And we can get that pricing, you know, what happens after the first year.
right, so do you recommend that we just do for 1 year, from March 1st for 1 year, or until June 30th?
Well, since the contract's kind of for 1 year, why don't we
Let's
look
just
at
do
1
1
year?
year.
And then at that point, we can say, what do we want to do? Do we-
Right.
Do we want
Okay.
to stop? Do
All
we
right.
want to go to a monthly visit? You know,
Right, okay, so who is in favor of moving this to the motion, to have a motion on the board meeting?
I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Are they gonna be doing the addling, or is that it's an extra cost, but are we agreeing to the addling, or just the,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, the addling is an extra cost.
are we agreeing to that? Is that part of this package that we are voting on?
Yes, it is part of the package. It is an important part of the package.
Right.
Because of the fact that you want to push them away from nesting here. And if they feel that they are unsuccessful in nesting here, that will push them away. They'll go somewhere else to where they can nest successfully.
I understand that.
Yes, yes.
So what does that add to the 13,000 is what I'm asking?
It depends on how many nests we have.
So that is in addition to the 13,000?
Yes,
What, $68?
85, yes. Thank you for bringing that
Thank
up.
you.
I forgot about that.
But isn't it, if they're chasing them, there's a chance that they might not have nests?
Correct.
Right, so we don't know,
Correct.
it's a variable cost.
What we're talking about here is if they find a nest and they add the eggs, that would be the $85.
$85 per nest, okay.
And there's a lot of, Jeff, you get nests down at your office,
there
right?
we go.
We will have nests,
Yeah.
or they'll be trying to nest.
Right.
Sure.
Okay, so, Mr. Kraus, are you fine with moving it forward? Mrs. Walters?
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Kilderry, are you okay with moving this to the board meeting?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Mrs. Banis-Clemens?
No.
Yes.
No.
No, okay. So it seems that we have a majority. I'm fine with moving it forward for a vote. So this will be a motion on the meeting later this month. All right, the next one is Life Touch.
Okay, Life Touch contract for the student pictures, senior pictures, and also the class pictures at the lower grade. This is 3 years. This is no cost to the district as far as any fees that the district has to pay. The students purchase their pictures, pick what they want. But the Life Touch does then provide pictures to for the yearbooks and information like that. So there are some positives that the district does get from it. There's no cost to the district.
This is for the high school.
And elementary.
Is it all of them? It's all the buildings?
This one is the high school.
It seems like high school.
Seems like
Yeah,
high school.
because they talk about seniors.
Yes.
Right, and so it seems like, and then they also give they donate money for scholarship.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, any questions about Life Touch contract?
I did. In regard to the scholarships that they're providing, how does that compare to the previous contract we've had with them? Do we know? Is it the same as previous contracts? Is it?
I don't know.
Okay, just curiosity on that part. It's not going to change my.
Have we always stayed with Life Touch? I mean, or is this just something like, does this ever go out to look for other people, other, I guess, contractors or bids, or no, it's just something we've always stayed with Life Touch?
I've been here just 2.5 years, and we've been with Life Touch since during my time. I can't speak before that.
I didn't know they gave a scholarship. If there's any more information about that, that'd be interesting to hear, so I didn't know that.
She wants to get some information on the scholarships and
All right, any other questions? Okay, everyone's fine with moving this contract forward? Okay. Let's see, next, source for nurses.
Okay, this is a new vendor, and this contract is needed to provide a nurse on a bus or a student who has to be transported to a school outside the district, but has medical conditions that require a nurse to be alone with that student. They also, if that works out, would like to have this company as another source for nurses that are needed to go on trips, like field trips and so forth, for medically fragile kids. So what we try to do is we try not to take our nurses out away from the buildings for these trips. We need to have substitutes to come in to go along with these kids so that we're able to service both the child on the bus or on the trip and the children back in the school. So that's what this vendor is for. This is a new vendor. We do work with one other vendor, but this gives us another option, and specifically for this one particular student, that's the first need is to put have a nurse for the student, and this company is able to give us a shorter time frame for the nurse, like a couple hours, whereas the other company could only give us a half day or a full day.
So this will be a contract that we approve, it's almost like well, besides the one will be an every day, every school day. And then otherwise it'll be like a sort of a substitute
Yes,
nurse
as
that we
needed.
use as needed.
On call.
Right.
As needed, just like a substitute teacher.
Right.
We're trying
So-
to have a pool that we can draw from.
Right, so rather than taking the nurse out of the school when they have to go on a field trip,
Yeah.
we send one of these nurses. Okay.
Yes.
Did
Any-
you kind of, I just wanted to, like, you put a contract because it's kind of like a nurse on call, is that right? Am I understanding it correctly?
It's like a teacher.
So I'm not sure what a nurse on call really means, but this would be a nurse that would come in and ride on the bus to and from with this particular student. And then also we would use this company for, if we need a substitute nurse, for lack of a better term, a substitute nurse to come in and go on a trip with like a class of students were going on a field trip and they had a medically fragile student that we had to send a nurse with. So we would pull a nurse from this company instead of pulling one out of our building and having, we don't want to diminish our coverage at the building level for the field trips, but we do need to make sure that we have coverage on the bus for these medically fragile students.
Okay, so this is more specifically for students who actually need a nurse there. This isn't just like for school, just for, well, I guess you said school trips, so I guess for school trips.
Yeah.
All right.
It's more
All right,
medically fragile.
Could we also use this agency then for daily nurses if we were low on subs in the building too? You just are mentioning field trips, but we're also trying to use them for that as well.
Yes, that's a potential. Yep, but we want to, the folks would like to start with just this, right? See how good.
How do the rates compare with our existing supplier?
I can find out for you. Yeah.
That was actually my question too, but I have another question as well. If I recall, when I worked at North Penn, I thought the parents of these medically fragile kids were paying some of the nursing. Sean, does that happen here?
No.
So Pennridge pays for all the nursing? If there was
Yes.
a private nurse, they usually was parents supplied or through their agencies or services. All right, so this is all on us?
Yes.
Okay. Did we ever look into that? That would be our Director of Pupil Services
And I think that
job to look into that.
that may be a student case by case basis, perhaps.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, everyone's fine with moving this forward? Okay, seems like we have enough people to move that forward. All right, next item is a student activity account, class of 2021.
Yes, this is just to set up their class account so they can begin the process of raising funds for their proms down the road. And each year, each freshman class sets one of these up through $1 million. And but before it can be set up, it needs to be approved by the board.
Any questions? Okay, so our,
May I ask a question that's unrelated to the agenda? Is that okay?
that's fine.
Okay. Mr. Daubert, I was wondering, that latest project from Grass that they're doing the electronic sign, and there was concern about the maintenance of it, and who would pay for the maintenance, it would be borne by the district. Is it possible for these PTOs to send up for a project like that, to set up like an escrow account that they could put money into it? Because future PTOs may not be interested in spending their money on maintenance or replacement. So when we have these projects, is it possible to set up an escrow account at that time? Using PTO money, raised money?
Anything is possible.
Can we entertain, is there any interest in that? Maybe we can discuss that at another time or come back with some information.
Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah, because, that was one of the concerns, and we can't really expect the next PTO officers to want to spend their money that way. This was, driven by this current PTO, but we are left with the maintenance or the removal or however. So I think when there's a project like that that requires any kind of maintenance, I think we should make that a policy that we automatically set some funds aside for maintenance. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that we have to remember that, anytime we approve or allow a PTO to, or anyone basically, to put something on the property or install something, a piece of equipment, a sign, whatever, when it's done, when it's finished, it becomes property of Pennridge School District. I mean, it becomes ours. So, in the end, in the very end, we own it.
Whether we want to or not.
If we allow it to go in, and it goes in on district property, it becomes Pennridge.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment.
Sue Furlong, West Rock Hill Township. I'm going to focus mostly on the Papa Yoder versus Lehigh University. And I remember that analysis from last year. It was extremely biased, and it was kind of ridiculous when you looked at chairs for the inside, chairs for the outside. You rent one set of chairs. As for the concession stand, the expense was in there, but not the proceeds of running the concession stand. That's not an analysis, that's propaganda. Only 1 year in the whole tenure of Peter Yarnell's tenure here was there rain. I think we could cope with rain. As a taxpayer, now I get to pay for the field, and I was told, oh, well, if we have this wonderful new field, it won't be muddy like Papa Yoder, or, the grass would be bad or anything like that, and it's ADA compliant. One of the options to help pay for that field would be to have graduation locally here. So it is an extremely biased, and I'll tell you something else. When you introduce this in the fall, that's when you have your discussion. It is too late now. And one of the mitigating factors for this year is the fact that you are going to have to resurface the field, and so it will be out of commission. So I personally think that for this year, Lehigh sounds like a solution. But by the same token, if the kids want to have it at Lehigh, the parents want to have it at Lehigh, why do I have to pay for that when I paid for the field? Take up a collection, here's the cost of the tickets, and it's so much per kid, and you've got transportation is what I understand. I don't know why as a taxpayer, when I've paid for a really nice football field, I got to pay for Lehigh Valley all at the same time. So I think that you've got a problem there, and I think that an analysis should be done right now to justify, because I do think you can justify Lehigh this year with the new crown going on the field, because you would lose rental money and that type of thing, but do an analysis that's respectable and actually addresses the issue and not this one-sided, oh, we've got to rent out 1 million chairs and here's concession. It's ridiculous, and that should never have even been accepted last year. I think we need to start a doggy park down by the pond. Anybody for that? I'm not against that. I don't, the feces is a problem, but, you might say, walk your dog here, and, I'm just kind of joking about that, but, I think, honestly, in my opinion, it's going to take 2 years, but, because I don't know what the lifespan is of a goose, but, they're going to want to come back. That's just how animals are. They felt comfortable, they're going to go back. I do the same thing. I have a spot on my couch. That's where you can find me. But anyway, good luck with that. I don't know that you'll solve that problem unless we all have goose for Christmas next year. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you for your comments. Any other public comment? All right, the next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for February 7th, 2018 here, and we are adjourned and moving on to our next meeting. Thank you.